to Fits of Planning. I'm Jem and this is
Sam.
And we are not on location today, we are back in our usual spots.
We are.
So we're alright. But today we're going to talk to you about, because Sam's been on holiday a lot lately, jetting off to, Vegas and having great, a lot of it's been work, let's be serious, just because she works in Barbados and, whatever, and goes to Vegas just for a casual, and you're in France next week, and whatever, she's leaving me. It's not okay. I'm very emotional and very needy, and she keeps leaving the country. Anyways, and I sometimes go on holiday when I can afford it.
You've been away a bit. Don't fib.
Yeah, I've been away a little bit. I went to Belgium, but that didn't really. That was Andy's training.
It was a mini holiday.
I did
all the waffles.
I did eat a waffle, to be fair, and it was good. It was good.
So I feel like that was a little mini holiday.
And then
we've just been to Parma,
and then we are going to Egypt. So yeah, okay,
At the beginning of the year, where have you been the earlier this year?
I went to Mexico in December.
There you go.
That was a honeymoon though.
Still a holiday.
You make a valid point. Anyways, we digress. And we're going to talk to you about how to maintain your goals on holiday. Now, I've got to heavily caveat this. If you only do go on one holiday a year, or whatever, or your holidays are your time to chill the fuck out, eat and drink as much as you want, not move, and that is your holiday, and actually putting on £10 in 2 weeks, not bothered, it's well worth it because you've enjoyed your holiday, go for it.
Absolutely.
No judgment here. You do whatever you need to do. If the benefit of, potential weight gain or potential habit loss is greater, then if the benefit of enjoying your holiday is greater than that, then you do you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if the benefit of that is not greater, so if actually, coming back and having put £10 on, or getting out of the habit and then spending the next 3 months trying to get back into it is something that you want to try and mitigate, well then these are the tips that we're going to give you.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you are still wanting to reach your goals and still be able to live your life and go on holiday and still be able to reach those goals, then there are some little tips and tricks that we totally recommend. So my first one is not to starve yourself the 2 weeks before you go away.
Right.
So even before you've gone on holiday, the big problem that I see a lot of the time is people 2 weeks before will go, shit.
Yes.
I've got to be on the beach, and I've got to get into that swimsuit, or I've got to get into that dress, and I'm not sure I'm going to feel comfortable or confident or, about that. I'm going to just literally eat nothing for the next 2 weeks. You go on holiday then, so you might have lost, a couple of pounds in those 2 weeks, right? Because you've starved yourself. You're dehydrated, more than likely as well.
And we know all about that. We know all about that.
You're dehydrated, so yes, you can get into that swimsuit or bikini or dress, but then as soon as, because let's say you're in an all-inclusive, as soon as you have that first sip of alcohol and that first meal, you are going to feel bloated, and you are going to feel like a pufferfish. You're going to feel horrific, and you're going to feel probably less confident than you did as you got on the plane.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, but the planes wreak havoc with me. I actually can't eat on the plane anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I think because obviously I'm dairy intolerant.
Yeah.
I have to be. You can ask for dairy-free meals.
Yeah.
But I just find that plain food just does not sit well with me at all.
Well, it's got a lot of salt in it, so they put a lot of extra salt in it to make, because your taste buds at altitude go a bit haywire.
Yeah.
So they put a lot of salt in it to, make it taste decent. To be fair, I've not been on a long haul holiday in a while.
It doesn't matter what length flight it is.
Yeah.
I have a nightmare.
Do you?
Yeah, so I might feel really, really great before getting on that plane.
Yeah.
And I'll get off the plane and I'll feel crap for about 2 days of my holiday.
No way.
Yeah, just really bloated and really sluggish.
Yeah.
So I tend to not eat plain food now, and I'll take my own stuff.
Yeah, I do tend to do that. I'll nip to WH Smith and grab, a meal deal or something.
Yeah.
But
that is my first one. Don't starve yourself 2 weeks before. Continue or go at your nutrition and your training in a more sensible way. I'm not using the word diet because I don't really like it.
I hate the word diet.
So your nutrition and your training in a sensible way beforehand and not 2 weeks before.
No.
Because you're not going to see the results you really want to see in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
You will make a bit of a change, but you need a bit longer. So my first tip is don't starve yourself, because as soon as you take that first sip of beer or wine or cocktail, you are going to balloon like a puffer fish and you're going to feel real bloated. Anyway, so the 2 weeks of eating like a rabbit
Not really
will
done
have
much.
been a waste of your time.
Yeah.
Actual waste of your time.
We've talked about it before, about planning your goals, and a lot of the time with my clients, especially when it comes to the summer, we'll sort of say, right, when's your next holiday? And they'll go, right, it's in 6 weeks' time. Right, okay, let's start now then, making sure that, you're going to feel confident. Oh, okay, I've got, in 3 months' time, I'm going away. Right, brilliant. Let's start now then, rather than getting to 2 weeks before and going, oh yeah, I go away in 2 weeks and I really don't feel that great, because it's just pointless.
Absolutely.
And then when you're on holiday, so I tend to say to people, if you're an exerciser and you like exercising, like I know when you went to Vegas, you exercised, I went to Palma, I exercised, because otherwise my brain goes a little bit insane.
Yes, for me, I need to get my body moving so that my brain wakes up, so
Yeah.
that I'm ready for the day. And I'm not that I'm not a nice person and I've not worked out, but that I am a much nicer person if I've managed to move.
Amenable.
Yeah, so what really frustrates me is when I'm on holiday is like waiting around for things to happen. So, and I get I will get quite frustrated and like quite internally like, oh, for God's sake, this is really stressful.
Yeah.
So if I can get up in the morning, I can go and get a workout in. The waiting around then for me doesn't seem as bad when you're waiting for other people.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
To get the shit together.
Yeah. So if you are an exerciser, exercise, that's not to say, if you normally exercise 4 or 5 times a week, maybe you're on holiday, you might do it 2 or 3 times, you might normally exercise for like 45 minutes, you might do 20 minutes, whatever, but it just keeps that habit there. Now, you're not necessarily going to you're not going to progress your goals necessarily, but you're not going to regress them either. And it is all about maintaining that habit. But then by the same fraction, I do have a lot of clients who will say to me, I'm going on holiday and I want to full on chill out. All right, great. You do you, absolutely. But then there's other ways, so you can sort of find like incidental exercise. So, with regards to steps, if you're trying to maintain some steps, if you are going to the bar, go to the one, walk there, go to the one that's a little bit further away rather than getting, table service.
Yep.
Or if you need the toilet, go walk to the room rather than just the poolside one. And then incidental exercise, like a good one I always say is every time, because everyone dips in the pool to have a little cool off, and you just stand there and then you get back out again.
Yep.
Just do a lap up and down.
Have a swim.
Have a little swim, because if you did, every time you dipped in to cool down, you did like a lap or 2, that's quite a bit of incidental exercise. Also, and not gonna lie, I'm quite a fan of hotel aqua aerobics.
Oh no, I can't think of anything worse.
Oh my God, I love it.
No,
I find it hilarious.
But I'm also not an all-inclusive hotel kind of gal, where you have things like that anyway, where there are hotel there's classes are going on.
Okay, I'm going to clarify this. I did it once in Mexico and it was brilliant, because that's the only all-inclusive we've ever been on, but I'm not going to lie, had a whale of a time.
Yeah, no,
so if you are in an all-inclusive and there is aqua aerobics, get involved.
I mean, it is a way to get some movement in, like, by all means, it's just not my preferred method of movement, in all honesty.
It's hilarious.
I quite like, so a lot of the holidays I go on are very active anyway, in their nature, and so I hit more steps on holiday than I do at home without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So I can hit 20,000 steps a day when I'm on holiday. Just because I'm like, beginning of the year when I was in Australia, even like just walking to the beach and back. Before I went and sat on the beach, I made a plan to get up, go and have breakfast. Or cook breakfast. I was actually in an Airbnb, so that worked out really well. But go and have breakfast. Go for a nice walk, about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I go and sit on the beach.
Love it.
And go and talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and that was all done before dinner.
Amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I like a little bit of a beach walk.
I like a beach walk.
I like a beach
little bit
walk.
of a coast walk.
Yeah, but that's it. when we were in Palma, all the restaurants were a little bit further away, so I hit like 10,000
Yeah.
steps most days. So, I mean, I appreciate when you are at an all-inclusive, and especially if you've got kids and it is all very resort, you know, close by, there are still ways that you can get that extra incidental exercise in by walking that little bit further, taking the long way round,
Join the class.
joining in a class, love a good class, or just
Beach volleyball.
yeah, beach volleyball, getting involved with the kids. If the kids are going for a swim in the sea, or, you know, bodyboarding or whatever, get involved with them, chuck a ball around.
Even just things like building sandcastles,
Yeah.
digging holes and burying your kids in them.
Not, you know, like, so they can still breathe. Let's clarify that one. So not just like burying your kids and leaving them there, like, you know, like a fun game kind of thing. You know, let's just health and safety that
Building
one.
sun castles.
Sun castle.
Building
Sand
sand
castles.
castles.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Oh, I've not built a sandcastle in years.
I know, but if you've got young kids,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a way to entertain them, isn't it? So you build the sandcastles and stuff like that. It's a form of movement. You might not be walking,
No.
but you are moving.
Well, exactly, and that's all it's about. It's getting those forms of exercise that are incidental, that you don't realise are actually happening.
Yeah.
So that you can maintain movement, you can maintain your steps. You don't get back from holiday having put on too much weight if you don't want to, but also making sure that those habits are still there, because we know full well, I mean, we know as trainers, everyone at Christmas goes mental over Christmas, and then they come back January, or they say to you just before January hits, I'm going to be so on it. I'm going to be so on it. And it lasts for 3 days, and then they're like, yeah, this is really hard now, because they've fallen out of those habits.
Yeah.
If you're on a 2-week all-inclusive holiday...
And if they've done that for 2 weeks and you've not moved very much and you've been out drinking and Christmas is huge in our cultural
Yeah.
society
Yeah.
for lots of alcohol
Yeah.
and lots of food and
Yeah.
the cheese and the crackers and
Which
are, I mean,
gutted, not allowed camembert.
yeah, no, you're not. I mean, I don't like camembert anyway, to
What?
be honest. I know. Honestly, I moved back to my mum's at Christmas for 2 weeks. I mean, it's hilarious.
I mean, it is.
And
They open stockings on the bed.
I actually, honestly, I piled so much weight on over those 2 weeks.
I know, but as long as the benefit, it's fine.
I know,
Do you know what I mean?
but like Christmas and very similar for holidays. That can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, see, but then I've always been, like, Christmas has always been, meh, it's one day.
Yeah.
So...
Whereas now I have a different frame of mind. And it's not because I'm limiting those things, but actually, I don't need to sit and have cheese and crackers every single day over 2 weeks.
No,
Like-
definitely not.
I don't need to do that.
No.
Like, I don't need to sit there with like 10 share bags of chili, sweet chili
Crisps.
crustaceans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, last year we did go through
it's been
3...
very overindulgent.
Yeah.
For no real reason.
Yeah. And that's the, you've got to tailor it to your goals.
Yeah.
If your holiday or Christmas or whatever, if that having 2 weeks is everything to you, to be able to just do whatever you want and to overindulge, and actually the consequences don't matter, we'll rectify it when we get there, fine. But for the majority of the people, when you come back off from holiday, all you hear is, oh, I feel like crap.
Yeah.
Oh, I've put on loads of weight. Oh, I feel like crap. I'm finding it really difficult to get back into the swing of things. I'm really tired. I'm really sluggish, blah, 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 blah.
Whereas if you maintain some of those habits, it's not so hard to then get back on the horse
Yeah.
when you come back.
And the other one comes down to nutrition with that one as well. And I always say this to my clients. Do you really need a full cooked breakfast every single day?
So, you might be in an all-inclusive,
Yeah.
but do you really need to eat 4 meals in one sitting?
No.
No, do you really need the pastry after you've had your eggs on toast or
Yeah.
whatever? Like,
Exactly.
or do you definitely need to have a full English every single morning?
No.
Is it something that you need to do?
And out of a week's holiday or a 2 week holiday, you might pick 2, 3, 4 days. You know, if it's, let's say it's a week, you might pick 2 days where you go, actually, do you know what? Yes, I am going to have my full English today.
Yeah.
Fine, go for it. But do you really need it every day? Same when it comes to like lunch times, and it may be different for different people will choose different meals, but whenever I go away, my breakfast is always the same, more because I'm just boring.
And also, your breakfast really should be high protein. It's the first meal that you go into picking and choosing.
Yeah.
And realistically, in everyday life and when you're on holiday, if you want to maintain those goals, high protein needs to be your first meal.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so get your eggs in you, whatever.
Absolutely.
To be fair, I end up eating a lot more eggs when I'm on holiday because you tend to find that I normally have oats. They don't really have non-dairy milk in lots of places.
Yeah.
And plus, the eggs are just better abroad.
I think they are, to be fair.
Like,
Although I am really fussed about what eggs I buy now.
yeah, but when we went to Mexico, he was like a ninja making this omelette. Oh my God, it was amazing. But yeah, then like, you know, your lunch, for example, do you really need chips with every single lunch? Would you normally have a full burger and chips for your lunch? Would you normally have a full meal for your lunch? Or would you at home normally have a sandwich,
Yeah.
a wrap? You know, can you stick to those sizes and what you relatively have when you're away, but as what you would have at home? And then maybe your evening meal is the one that you go, actually, do you know what, I'm going to eat what I want.
And I'm not going to think about.
I'm not going to think about it at all. But by then, breakfast has been, you know, relatively the same. Lunch has been relatively the same. So dinner, go for it. But then the same rules apply. Do you really need a 3-course meal every single day? And a lot of the time, and I know that this comes down to it, it's a want versus a need.
Absolutely.
Because when you're on holiday, and I found this when I was in Palma actually, like my dad and my stepmom would be getting dessert, and I'd look at the menu, and there wouldn't really be any desserts that
really fancy.
that I really wanted. So I would have just been having one for the sake of it because other people were having one. Now, on some of the nights, there was a dessert that I really wanted, so I had it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? It's working that out. If there's something there that you're having it just because it's there, because of the sake of it, do you really need it? Or would you actually prefer something else on a different night and at a different restaurant or whatever that's a greater want for you?
Yeah.
That is something that's actually going to satisfy you a little bit more rather than just having it because it's there.
Yeah.
And they are the biggest things that when you actually think about it, have a huge impact, because instantly, if you think you would normally have your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner, and you're, you know, maybe say you're on a nutrition plan that's 1,800 calories, for example. As soon as you go on holiday, if you turn your breakfast into a full cooked, you turn your lunch, you add chips and it's a full meal, dinner becomes 3-course and you've had a couple of drinks and ice creams in between, you can double or triple your calories in one day.
Absolutely.
Is that worth it? We go back to it. If it is worth it, go for it. You do you, whatever you want. But if it's not, then just be mindful of it, be conscious of it. Do you really need to be, I always refer it to Deborah, but do you really need to be like Deborah, who's got 17 plates flat piled high? Do you know what I mean? Do you, because you might not need to, especially if you are doing less activity.
Yeah.
You don't need as much fuel. It's there because you want it rather than you need it. So make sure that those wants are warranted.
Yeah. And the same applies with alcohol. So do you really need to have your first drink at 9 a.m. in the morning? Or are you doing it because you're on holiday? Just because, and that's what you should do. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you actually really need that alcoholic beverage at 9 a.m. in the morning? Or actually, could you probably wait to have an alcoholic beverage at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah.
And then that way, actually, you're going to have your alcohol consumption
Absolutely.
already, because you've decided, do you know what, I'm going to stick with my coffee or whatever, and water. Hydration is a huge point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but when I'm on holiday in a hot country, I drink more water naturally because I feel so dehydrated.
It's so hot, you're sweating so much.
So if you keep up that hydration, and even if you do want that drink at 9 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah, go for
right?
it.
In between each drink that you have, put a glass of water in there or a bottle of water in there.
Absolutely, because then you've got to walk to the bar an extra time, so we're getting those extra steps in at the same time anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not a big drinker, so it's something that I often quite forget about, because I might have like 1 or 2 days where I'll have a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
But then, and usually more than anything, they're like fruity cocktails, you know, it looks like fruit juice than anything. But it is, do you really need it? Yes, because it's there, and especially more so on all-inclusive. You know, it is there, you can have it.
And you have that mindset of, I've got to make I've got to make the most out of.
Yeah.
I've got to try and drink more than I've paid.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, eat more than I've paid for.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there
exactly.
is that mentality around it, I think,
Yeah.
as well for quite a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. But it is something to just be mindful of, those wants versus those needs. You know, can you, well, A, make sure that you don't restrict for the 2 weeks leading
Yeah,
up to.
absolutely. Yeah.
You know, can you get more steps in? Can you get a little bit more incidental exercise in? And the biggest one, especially when it comes to all-inclusive, is the food aspect. Do you really need all of that food for breakfast, lunch and dinner?
Yeah.
Could you try and mimic what you would normally do at home within reason? You know, like, you're on holiday at the end of the day, so a little bit of habit loss and a little bit of weight gain is normal and is to be expected because it's a sign of a good holiday. But it's working out the balance for you, how much is worth it versus how much is not worth it, and what you can implement within that.
And like those things are what I class as like non-trackable, so I don't track calories and macros and stuff when I'm on holiday.
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm not putting my fitness pal on.
Absolutely
I'm
not.
not doing that.
Absolutely
And
not.
I know I've got some clients that actually don't take their Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Because so that they don't like,
Yeah.
they're not fixated
Yeah.
and try and get those steps in, but actually they probably do more steps
Yeah.
while they're there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to track those things either, but by making slight adjustments and being a bit more mindful about those things, you're not going to need to anyway.
Absolutely, instantly. And we are aware that it is coming slightly towards the end of the summer holidays, so, you know, tips better late than never. But some people do love a bit of winter sun.
Absolutely.
But we will also do, in the lead up to Christmas, a top tips for Christmas, which most of them are pretty similar anyway.
Very similar, yeah.
They're very similar anyway. But just a quick update today, guys, on top tips for when you're on holiday.
Yes.
Balance, outweigh the pros, the cons, the benefits, and the consequences, and then make your decision based on that. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.